Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Freedom Tech Friday, a weekly live and interactive show hosted on the Ungovernable Misfits X, Noster, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch feeds. We go live for 1 hour every Friday at usually at 9 a.m. Eastern, although I am well aware it is now 10 a.m. Eastern, thanks to daylight savings, or 2 p.m. UK time. But you can also catch up later on the Ungovernable Misfits podcast feed. On Freedom Tech Friday, we like to cover the latest news and trends for anything relating to freedom technologies. That could be anything from Bitcoin, Monero, encrypted messengers, privacy tools, and everything in between. Essentially, if there's a news item, tool, or topic that can help you take back some control in today's digital panopticon, then we want to talk about it. My name is Q&A, and I'm head of customer experience at Foundation, where we build Bitcoin-focused sovereignty tools. As always, I'm joined by my good friends Max, the head honcho of the Ungovernable Empire, and Seth, who is COO over at Cake Wallet. Freedom Tech Friday is a live and interactive show, and you can help steer the conversation by commenting live, pre-submitting your questions, boosting the show via Podcasting 2.0 apps, sending tips, or just sharing the show with your friends. Top support from the last show comes from Hablemos de Bitcoin, who sent 500 sats and said, the better improvements in UX we have, the more adoption will come. I think Cake have done a great job there. I think we'll all agree. Also, a quick special mention to Cass Peeland, Lufaloo, and Nathan Day for their SAT streaming contributions last week. Thank you all for your support. We do have some guests I'm going to introduce very shortly, but without further ado, let's dive into the show and say hello to my co-hosts, Max and Seth. How are you doing, gentlemen?
I'm doing. I've waded back into the great Twitter wars of 2026, so I'm thriving. I'm thriving. I started a new war, but it's better than the BIP 110 idiocy. So I'm, it's better discourse. I'm doing my part.
And I'm very sick again. The room is spinning. I'm snuffling away, but I couldn't miss this. And the only thing getting me through the last 24 hours has just been watching Seth going to battle, going to war, and thinking it could be worse.
Yeah, I'm a good case study of what not to do if you want a quiet life on Twitter. It's not to say it's the wrong thing, but if you want a quiet life, yeah, don't listen to me.
Yeah, don't listen to Seth. But yeah, seriously, today, very excited about what we're going to be talking about. This is something that me and Q have been discussing on, I think, almost every Bitcoin brief for the last year or so, that this kind of tooling would be incredible. So yeah, very excited.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about this on the Bitcoin brief, and we were recapping a little bit, and I actually made a little wish list where I was hoping that somebody was actually going to vibe code something just like what we're about to talk about today. So when it popped up on my Twitter feed, I was very excited and literally jumped straight into Bruno's comments to be asking him if he wanted to come on. So yeah, as I mentioned today, we've got a couple of guests joining us. We've got Breno and George, the builders behind a new open source tool called Stealth. Stealth is a Bitcoin wallet privacy audit tool, for want of lack of a better term, that essentially runs the same heuristics that Chainalysis like to use on all of us listening to this. But the difference is Stealth puts those tools in your hands. You paste your wallet descriptor, it scans your on-chain history, and it tells you exactly where your privacy may or may not be leaking. Today, we're going to hear about why they built it, how it works, and hopefully they're going to give us a live demo so that you can see it in action, excuse me. But first off, Breno, George, welcome to Freedom Tech Friday. Before we get into Stealth, we'd all love to hear a bit about you both, where you're based, what your background is, and how you ended up getting into, doing what you're doing today.
Thank you so much. I'm proud to be here. I'm very, very thankful for this invitation. I see you a lot on Twitter, and it's awesome work that you do. Me and George can talk about himself a bit more later, but we are both in Brasilia. I'm the host of BitDevs in Brazil. And I work in Bitcoin surroundings since 2017. I started in Bitcoin doing some kind of I started a crypto investing company, and then but it was 2017 block wars, and I was if I was trying to invest, I need to understand it better. So I dive deep inside that all those conversations of what actually is Bitcoin and what is not Bitcoin, why Bitcoin Cash is not Bitcoin, why big blocks are better or worse, and I became a maximalist very quickly because of that. And I've been and since then I've been in this space. I wrote a book which is 101 questions about Bitcoin. I'm translating it to English. In the process to translate it into English. I've sold like 600 copies in Portuguese, and lots of people really enjoy the book. And I'm I'm translating it to releasing to launching in English as well, and maybe other languages. And so I we started BitDevs. Um, we just completed 2 years of BitDevs, and Brasilia quickly after BitDevs, Brasilia quickly became a very big center of Bitcoin development here in Brazil. Like Brazil is already getting really big because of Intium of Lucas' work, and Brasilia is getting very good traction also. Like there's people working with Arc, with Floresta, with lots of really cool relevant Bitcoin projects. And yeah, but I am actually not a I didn't came from computer science. I'm actually came from electrical engineering, and I was initially a data scientist, and now I'm working with as machine learning engineer, AI engineer, depending on how you define it. And I worked in Spirits of Satoshi. Some of you might remember with some AI for Bitcoin not long ago, and I've been improving on my agentic engineering, and I have lots and lots of ideas. And this was actually not my idea, George. It was George's and Herb's idea, and he can talk more about this. We did a hackathon before, and then they had this idea and said, Breno, do you want me to join? And I said, like, of course, this idea is amazing. Let's do it. And George, you can tell you about yourself.
Hi guys, thank you for having me here. I'm very glad for being here. So, my background is as a Jaguar web developer, and I started to get things in Bitcoin since when I started to go into BitDevs, which Breno's hosts. So this idea came especially for this event here in Brazil called Bitcoin Plus Plus. This it's an event worldwide. It has in a lot of cities. So here this edition was edition talking about Bitcoin exploits. So the idea was to track vulnerabilities in the user's wallet. So we thought it was a good idea to present it in exploit edition.
Yeah, you mentioned that you did this at the hackathon. Could you talk us through what that experience was like? Like, do you just kind of lock yourselves in a room for 24 hours and hash out some ideas and then build out an MVP? Like, walk us. I've never been involved in a hackathon like that, so walk us through what that experience is like.
Yeah, it was actually less than 24 hours. I believe it was 22, maybe. It was it was very quick. It's getting it's getting faster. We're getting less time, I believe, probably because of AI. But yeah, it's basically what is a hackathon is it's kind of a competition where most of the hackathons you build projects, and usually in Bitcoin hackathons you are incentivizing building some freedom tech, Bitcoin or Bitcoin adjacent, and there are some tracks where, for example, this Bitcoin plus plus hackathon, there was two tracks. One to find exploits, so you could like look for open source tech and find any vulnerability, and you get the best ones, the best findings are we're going to get some prizes. And the other track was to build like basically anything, but of course, if you are related to the team of the event, which was exploits, would be better. So in this, they and there's some side quests as well sometimes, like there's sometimes the best for the prize for the best design, or prize in this edition was there was a prize for someone that used the best use of Shakespeare, which is a vibe coding tool. um, and so basically that's it, and you have to have an idea and implement this idea. Luckily it works in kind of 20 less than 24 hours, and then present them to some judges that will judge in based on some criteria in this event. And usually the BTC event, they have they judge by how difficult it is, how much work you put in, um, how well it performs, if it's working, or if it's just like an idea and you couldn't make it work, and so how complete and and working is the project. And the third thing is they call the swag, like the impact, how they make the judge's eye shine, something like this. So and then we just like work our ass off as much as we can. We I went to sleep at 3:30 a.m. But George, I think you went to sleep at 9 a.m., right?
Yeah, around it.
Wow.
Yeah, he went to sleep at 9 a.m. and then like at 10:30 he was already there at the event again. Crazy.
Impressive stuff. Well, was this hackathon the first time you two guys have worked together to produce like a Bitcoin related product?
No. Actually, we did one last year in November for SatsConf, in for SatsConf, which is in São Paulo. But this is the second one that we work together. But I know Jorge. It's like we almost never worked together before. Like we know he went to the first BitDevs, and he always goes to the two BitDevs. Like so we know him about 2 years now. We've seen like every month.
Awesome stuff. Well, it seems like you're quite a powerful combination. So long may it continue. Okay, let's get into the tool itself. I'm sure most of the Freedom Tech Friday audience will have at least some level of understanding of kind of that chain analysis exists, but I don't think most people appreciate the power that they leverage and how much these types of companies with all of their different sources of data can infer about a specific wallet. So I guess let's walk us in gently. Like, what problem are you trying to solve here by building this tool, like to put it into the hands of the people? Like, what are you trying to enable?
Yeah, Bitcoin, as most of us know, is not anonymous, it's pseudonymous. So everything is transparent in the blockchain, but they are not easily linked to the person. But we can eventually, and with or without our consent, leak some information about ourselves. Like, for example, um, when, let's say, we go to an ice cream stand and buy an ice cream with Bitcoin, and then we use the change to buy something else in, let's say, I don't know, a pair of shoes in a nearby store. So the ice cream stand, if they look at the blockchain, they would see that you use the change from that transaction to buy something else, or to exchange send some other payment, to another store. So he can start to have he can start to have some idea of what's going on. Like, you're already buying something else. He can infer that. He maybe is not sure, but he can infer that. And other something more common, for example, let's say you buy lots of stuff, and now you have lots of small UTXOs. The and the mining fee is very low, so you want to consolidate everything. Once you consolidate everything, it's very clear from someone looking at the blockchain that they are probably consolidating, and they are probably from a one person, because there's lots of small UTXOs, um, going and joining into one big UTXO. So this is a very strong signal for someone consolidating their coins. And if they're consolidating their coins, it means that all those addresses that were once separated, now we can, with a high confidence, infer that they are actually from the same person. So we can go back on those transactions and try to, okay, if I know this address, and I know that other address, I know that he bought something here and he bought something there, so we can infer, the transactions that someone is making. And when we are doing our day-to-day stuff, we not always can see that this is going on. And this is what chain analysis do. They have they get some information, they record, okay, this is the address for that exchange, this is the address for that company. And when someone uses an exchange or buy something in a company that they know the address, and they somehow identifies you. For example, most exchanges have KYC, so they identify you, and they have some kind of agreement with chain analysis to provide that identification, so they can track you from that single interaction. And then even your other addresses that didn't touch that exchange in particular, they can start to infer from other, from not from address reuse, from behavior experience, and other things like this.
Yeah, it seems, especially now, like this kind of tooling to for people to see what fingerprint they're leaving and who can trace them is particularly important, especially with all the attacks that have been going on, real world wrench attacks and kidnappings and everything else. Like, it's stuff that forever we've talked about being a reality and that people should watch out for. and people have sort of rolled their eyes and not really bothered, or thought that they can have a boating accident and people will believe them, or governments will believe them. But things have got very real recently. So how do you think about that when you're building this tooling? Do you think the stakes will continue just to go up, and that this is something that anyone who actually wants to use Bitcoin going forward needs to be using like now?
Yeah, I say that there are no silver bullets. There are only trade-offs. So sometimes you need to consolidate your coins, and people will know what you did in the last summer, and maybe if they are looking for. But the thing is that we are inventing better ways to deal with this all the time. We are building. There's Lightning already is very difficult to trace. There are swaps that you can do, like submarine swaps, for example. There are there are coin joins, pay joins. So there are several different tooling, and some of them more easier to use, some harder to use. But the thing is, even though you use them, it's still there was no tool to see your coins in the blockchain at the moment. So even though you used a little bit of them, I believe that it's very important to understand the leaks that you already gave, the what already leaked from your information, so you can know what to do, or you're prepared once somebody uses this against you, for example. So if in chain, the difference between chain analysis and stealth is that chain analysis is a company that is providing governments and big corporations to spy on people, and stealth gives you the same leverage, the same opportunity for you to do the same. So you learn from your mistakes, and you decide the best track, the best path for improving on from now on.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think one of the main hurdles that most people have, well, is twofold. Is number one, an understanding of the UTXO model and the kind of trade-offs of that in terms of change and rest reuse that you just talked about, Bruno. And also just having visibility on it, or like their coins itself. Like coin control is a commonplace as a feature within most wallets, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that most average Bitcoiners is simply just not using it. They're not labeling their coins, so they simply have no insight as to where the changes come from, how quote unquote tainted any of their addresses are, what the links are. So having a visualization tool like Stealth, and similar to similar legacy tools that we used to have, like OXT and Boltzmann and KYCP, which I'm sure you guys have used in the past if you've come up with something like this, is imperative and can be a very powerful tool in the Bitcoiners toolbox, especially when it comes to privacy. So I want to leave more than enough time to go through the demo, which is typical. Just as George drops off the stream again, it looks like he might be having some connection issues. Bruno, do you want to just quickly walk us through like the current state of Stealth in terms of where it's available, what networks it's available on, the current state of the development?
Yeah, sure. We did this for the hackathon like 2 weeks ago. So we didn't have time to improve much since then. We are discussing, like, now the hackathon's passed, and we have actually time to think things through. We did like a very complicated mess on mixing Python with Java, JavaScript, and lots of stuff, because like different languages that everyone was more familiar with. But now that we are planning to do this for real, we're thinking about we're thinking harder about the architecture, the language, the tooling. Where, for example, we are thinking about using Floresta, so you have the full node inside the 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 tool itself, and so you don't even need to connect. If I don't know, if you don't use a full node, you would have a full node already with the tool and with Stealth, and you could have the same privacy without needing, I don't know, to, okay, I want to understand my privacy, so I need to, but I don't have a full node, so I need to buy a new computer, I need to buy some hard drives to store the blockchain, and we want to embed Floresta inside it. So we are thinking a lot of this. The current state right now is it is proof of concept. It works, and it's in a repo from George. He can we can share the link with you guys. I believe that there was a link in the hackathon project that I shared on Twitter before. And right now, it only works in reg test. Why reg test? Because we needed to construct some wallets that we would know for sure that they had privacy issues, so we can demo to the judges in less than 24 hours later. And so, for example, we wouldn't be able to, if we are going to look for random things, we weren't using our own public descriptors, right? So we created some wallet and imported their public descriptors inside the wallet, inside Stealth, and created the analysis according to the wallets that we construct, so we know that it's catching the right errors, that because we embedded the errors in these reg test wallets. So it's not for mainnet yet, but we are talking, we are discussing architecture and development, future development, and soon it will be releasing for testnet and then for mainnet.
Awesome.
Georgie, you're back.
Yeah, hopefully he's back and stable. George, are you able to
Yeah.
take over with the screen share and give us a demo?
Okay. Let's go.
If you could take us through right from the very beginning, so that you know what a new onboarded user would see right through the whole flow. And just while you're bringing up your screen share, Coco Dude on YouTube is asking a question: what is to stop the quote bad guys from using Stealth, example, to use it as a tool to dox an address? Well, they already do that. They've got their own far more complex software to do exactly that, but it's all proprietary. The plus point here is that Stealth is completely open source, built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. So this is more of a tool to level the playing field rather than worrying about it being able to be used by the quote unquote bad guys.
I will add something more, that to use Stealth, you need to put there your public descriptor, and only your wallet has the public descriptor. So unless you, I don't know, leak your public descriptor somewhere, say you send to someone on the internet, and some bad guy gets it, no one has this public descriptor. So Stealth is only looking at your own wallet, and so Stealth has more information about you than, for example, some guy with a chain analysis tool, because chain analysis is trying to infer the same things that Stealth is trying to infer, but they don't have all the information that you have from Stealth. So you can find your vulnerabilities first, before then you can find your vulnerabilities before someone tries to find it on a chain analysis tool, for example, and try to fix and correct them.
Great call out and great addition. Yeah, very valid points. All right, Judge Shay, over to you. If you could walk us through each step and just talk us through what you're doing.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
We certainly can.
Okay. So here's the start page from stuff and
Yeah.
paste. Sorry.
As you can see, it's very simple. It's just a screen with a text box. You paste your public descriptor that you export from your wallet, and there's just one button. You paste there, you click the button, and I lost your screen. Um,
Yeah, I think that might have been me.
Oh.
My apologies, Georgia. If you want to
Okay.
just bring it back up again, I was trying to hide the chat to maximize the screen.
Okay.
And by the way, this is all private. This is local. This
There we go.
doesn't. This is not running on a server, any one server. This is running on your own computer. So you just open the software. It's on your own computer. It is not using the internet besides your node, your Bitcoin node. So you paste the wallet descriptor, the public wallet descriptor. You doesn't even have to make any contact with private keys, of course, and you paste it there and click analyze wallet, and it does everything for you. So it makes some analysis, and there is several flags. So from 36 analyzed, there are 33 findings. For example, address reuse, and there is the CIOH is a label that means that it's some sharing of UTXO, and it gives you this. We of course we need to improve a little bit better to make it less technical, to make it easier for anyone to use it, and not only Bitcoin experts. But the idea is that you have this list of everything that we found, and we classify as it like critical problem, or maybe some smaller issue, and what is the exact transaction, what is the exact UTXO, and we also give a suggestion of what can we do to improve it. So there's this how to fix, and in right now there is just a sentence there, like explaining a little bit, but we need to think a little bit more. Maybe we suggest already tools to use it. Like for example, okay, we can make it better if we use a coin swap tool. That there are already these options here, for example, that you can use it in with a link. So you make it. The idea is that we want it to be like very simple, and not only that, not a very technical tool that you can like analyze and geek about it and nerd about it, but we want something that is very simple. You paste it there, you read what's going on, what are the issues, and you decide if you need to take action about this or not.
Yeah, George, could you just zoom in a little bit, just so the viewers can see some of the comments that are when it says like how to fix and stuff? That'd be useful to show that on the screen. There we go. Breno, what type of things are you looking for? Obviously, we can see some things on screen here. We've got a dust label, we've got a common input ownership heuristic, which I'm sure is commonplace for the privacy crowd. Like, what other things could this tool detect based on the wallet findings?
Yeah, there's basically 12 different 12 different heuristics. There are some very common one that long timer Bitcoiners and even people that use good wallets don't commit these errors, like for example reusing addresses. But still, there are some people that to this day, 2026, are still reusing addresses. So we look for reusing addresses, behavioral problems. Like for example, let's say that you earn your salary in Bitcoin, and let's say your employer they pay you the first day of the month, 2 o'clock. I don't know, $5,000 every month. So even though they are all different, um, they are all different addresses, and they are not linked in any other way, people can look at it and kind of infer that it's you, because it's every year, every month you're getting in the same, from the same place, the same time, the same. If they know, for example, the wallet of your employer, and it's much easier to know the wallet of a company than to know the wallet of a person, because the wallet of a company, I'm pretty sure that not long from here, governments will demand to know all the wallets from companies, and so this is going to soon, every this information will be very easy to know, and very common to, for example, chain analysis tool. And so you need to, so this is a simple behavioral privacy leak that you might not even think about it, but it identifies you in some way.
So timing and analysis and amounts are a problem. What do you think is a good way for people to deal with that now? Is it like receiving Lightning, or being paid in Monero, or using PayJoin, or like what's a good way around it if people are in that position? Or obviously the other one is like the employer not to pay the employee at the same time and same date every month would be, I suppose, a way around it as well.
Yeah, we have to. There's a. I believe that there is no, as I told before, there's not a one single bullet. There's not a silver bullet. There's different ways to deal with it, and one way certainly is to use PayJoin. And but there could be problems in using PayJoin as well. For example, if you're using PayJoin, all of the employees of the company will know each other's salaries. You know what? Like, okay, now people from outside, it's harder for they to track you specifically, but it's easier for you to track your colleagues. You understand?
Or paynims, or there's got to be a nice way that someone can deal with this, or Lightning, like we said before, because that is a big problem. That would cause big problems within a company, and also with the tracking. The other thing I've noticed in the mining space is a lot of people, I don't know if it's still the case, but we're reusing addresses, or some even giving XPubs out to get their payments come through, which is also a pretty big problem. Which is something where Paynims was a nice option, where they could get their payouts without having to reveal the same address each time.
Yeah, I think that for that case, this case specifically, one thing that could be a good option is to use silent payments. Silent payments is never, it's not very, it's not widely adopted yet, but I think this could be a very good way to deal with it. And the thing is that it takes a while. It's there's like trade-offs, as I told you before, but it's a very good way to deal with it. But yeah, other like the 12 detections that we are using right now is address reuse. So let's say you repeat the addresses, of course. Multi-input ownership. So if you're use several different inputs in a transaction, this can, of course, uh, show that probably those belong to the same person. Also, dust spending. There's a common dust attack that people send a really small dust transaction to you, so they can start tracking what you do with them after you spend with more money later. Also, change detection. One example of change detection is through address reuse. So if you pay someone and you send the change to your own address, again, it's obvious what part is the change and what part is the actual payment. So this, when you detect this, this leaks a little bit of information about you. There's also consolidation. When you're consolidating your UTXOs, they you basically link all your UTXOs together, and so your past transactions become linkable. There some UTXO age spread as well. Sometimes you have a very old UTXO and you spend a newer one together, so they can infer, for example, how long you've been in Bitcoin space. So probably if you spend a UTXO from 2013, they can infer that you might have a lot of Bitcoin maybe, and try to make some range attack for you. Exchange origin, of course. If you're spending something that came directly from an exchange, or not necessarily directly, but it came from an exchange, it can the exchange, for of course, will be able to track this information, and certainly chain analysis will be also being able to do it, because chain analysis gets this information from exchanges. Tainted UTXO merge, and also some behavior fingerprints.
Perfect. Thanks for taking us through that. I'm going to hit a couple of listener questions. Some of them have come through live and some of them are pre-submitted. Thank you to everybody that has submitted questions either way. This one comes from Max on Twitter. And he said, sorry, I joined late, but where is the cluster from? I presume, Bruno, from everything that you said today, that it's all internal to the addresses and coins within a specific wallet descriptor and their relationship to one another. Is that right?
Yeah, it gets from both wallet descriptor, your public wallet descriptor, and your own full node. So from your public wallet descriptor, you can create the addresses and and get the UTXOs. But after you get the UTXOs, to understand the transaction history, you need to source them from your Bitcoin node. So, and that's the source of information.
All right, perfect. Thanks. We had a pre-submitted question from Smoke over on Twitter, and they said, assuming that this runs locally, which we've obviously established it does. What does a finished product ideally look like? Could this be built into Sparrow Wallet, for example? And this was my first thought, actually, when I saw this. I was like, Sparrow already does a very rudimentary version of this where it detects sort of address reuse within the active wallet, but it feels like it could be made so much more powerful with, implementing some of the logic that you've got here. So how do you foresee that in the future?
Yeah, I believe that this, of course, can be built inside an already existing wallet, but I think that could be even more powerful if we can use in basically every wallet. If we can just like export the public descriptor into this app, that could be an app in your phone. It's not very right now. It's kind of big and heavy just because like we did it like rushing, but we are going to improve it. But it doesn't need to be. It's could be very lightweight, could be an app in your phone and also a desktop version. So you just input your public descriptor there, and it does your what it needs to do.
Yeah, I think where this, obviously the information itself is very powerful and what we can see on screen here is very useful. I think the next natural link is being able to take action, simple action based on what you can see here, because like when you see some of the warnings here, you still have to get a base level of knowledge as to how to fix that. And with obviously that type of action that you need to take is specific to the wallet software that you interact with. So for me, if we can bake this sort of logic inside the app itself so that it's, the action to actually fix the problem and prevent it going forward is much simpler. That's where, this becomes even more powerful and we get some sort of force multipliers. I know Seth has got a question to come in a second, but before I unleash him, I'm just keen to hear like where you guys, other than what we already covered off, where you'd like to take this next. Is there any features or implementation details that you haven't gotten around to yet that are on the roadmap that you're able to share with us?
Yeah, sure. Besides refactoring and make it way better, because it's kind of clunky. There's lots of other heuristics that we want to put in. There's like time pattern fingerprinting, amount fingerprinting. Like for example, you always spend the same amount in a certain time, and there's lots of these other heuristics that I think they are super useful that we could implement them. But also there is of course like having mainnet support, having a mobile app. But also I believe that one thing that would be very useful is an actual cluster visualization, not only looking at the heuristics by themselves, like the UTXO as a long string, but if we look as a network of transactions and understanding how they're linked together, it could be easier to understand, and also to improve the suggestions, the suggestive actions to take. They are very in like we didn't put much thought in over them. We want to think a little bit more about them and make them more precise, specific, and more actionable. Yeah, ideally like one-click solution, like click here and solve your problems. I'm not sure we are going to be able to get to this point specifically, but this is the end goal. Like, this is your problems, click here, solve them all.
Yeah, one question I want to jump in on, I guess it's kind of two separate questions, but kind of two main things jump to mind here. One is like, as someone building a wallet, this type of thing is something that I would love to surface to our users. Do you have any plans to make this stuff? I don't know exactly how you would make this extensible to wallet devs to easily implement. Maybe that's just documentation that explains how you detect each thing and some tips on how to do it. But it would be great to have something like this upstream in BDK and other Bitcoin SDKs that are widely used so that developers can easily expose like, hey, if you make this transaction, this will show, or on this transaction you made in the past, you should be careful of spending these UTXOs, or when you're in coin control, showing these kind of flags would be really cool. So I'm kind of curious, I'll just finish with that first question and jump into another one second. Just kind of curious, like how you think about that, getting it integrated into other wallets. I know Sparrow Wallet was mentioned before, but I think there's a lot of Bitcoin wallets that would love to surface this type of really kind of security and privacy info to their users in an easy to understand way, like you're doing here, but without requiring you to run a server, that sort of thing.
That's a very good idea, actually. I didn't think about this before. I'm not sure if Jorge and Herb and Renato thought about it, but one way to do this, now that you said it, would be to create a library, and a separate library that we use for stealth, but that is completely open source, so anyone could use it and use it inside BDK or whatever other libraries that they are using. This is a good idea, like separating the app itself from the heuristics catching, like the vulnerability catching. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I mean, the main reason I ask is because I know most users unfortunately won't go to these links to run something like this. The hardcore ones will, which is fantastic, but I would love to see this type of information with how easily vulnerable you become from a privacy standpoint when using Bitcoin if you use it incorrectly. I would love to see this in every Bitcoin wallet so that you know a bit more about the issues that you're running into or what you've done in the past that could cause problems in the future, that sort of thing. I think it would be really cool to surface. So definitely would love to see that kind of library created so we can do it more easily. My second question for you is just kind of like long term, how do you expect to keep this project running? One thing that's tricky in the chain surveillance state is that Chainalysis, et cetera, have hundreds of millions of dollars in funding. Like obviously you're not going to get there, but what's your idea for how long term you'll continue to iterate, continue to add new heuristics as they're developed or discovered? Is that something that you've thought about yet, or is this? I know this was spawned out of a hackathon where there's not normally a long-term vision of this lasting 5 years, but I'm just kind of curious how you're thinking about it evolving from a kind of arms race with chain surveillance companies perspective.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of funny because when Herb and Georgie brought me this idea, they brought the idea just like, okay, this is a exploit edition, so this is related to exploits in Bitcoin, so let's do this idea. And like, guys, this idea is amazing. We should, like, this should definitely exist, and regardless of hackathon or whatever, we should look for a grant to continue developing it. So this is my first idea. I also thought about it a little bit on like if would be a product for a company, like if we could make but I'm not sure if this could be like easily monetizable, but and also like if it wouldn't be bad for the purpose itself. Like if I am charging you to do this, like are the are you going to use it? Maybe you would, but lots of people wouldn't. So I'm thinking about, I don't know, talking with some grants, like HRF, Spiral, Brink, I don't know which one's 21. And then based on that, maybe after the it's done, it's like being useful not only in a standalone way, but being useful for other wallets, and wallets starts to use our standalone library for privacy leaks. Maybe like even the companies want to support it because they are using it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say a couple things. One, like if you did create that and Cake Wallet started using it, we would love to help make it easier for you to maintain long term. Like that's something we've done with PayJoin. We implemented PayJoin v2, contributed upstream, and now we support the PayJoin Foundation. So these types of things that it's not easy for you to build a business model around, but that are vital to exist. Like, yeah, I mean, we would love to support that. Also, if you do reach out to specifically anyone at Brink, HRF, or OpenSats, I'm more than happy to put in a good word for you as well. So please do let me know if you do that. I would love to see this get a grant because it seems like the perfect kind of thing to get long-term support for so it can keep improving.
Awesome. Yeah, Alena just said here that she'd like to help, and there's a next here, but I cannot see her actual X handle. So, but I believe that you know, and you can connect
put you
to
in
her
contact
later, right?
Yeah, no problem at all. I can make sure that you guys link up. We are already at time. These hours always go very fast. Guys, I just want to thank you for building an awesome tool. I really look forward to accessing it on mainnet so that I can run it over my own wallets and see how good my privacy practices have been over the years. Thank you very much for building what you build and continuing to do stuff, particularly in the privacy space, which is very needed at the moment. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you to everybody that's also stopped by to listen and to watch and to post their questions. And as always, thank you to Max and Seth, my co-hosts. This has been Freedom Tech Friday, and we will be back with more of the same goodness at the same time next week. George A. Breno, thank you very much. Hope you both have a great weekend.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Freedom Tech Friday. To everyone who boosted, asked questions, and participated in the show, we appreciate you all. Make sure to join us next week on Friday at 9 a.m. EST and 2 p.m. London. Thanks to Seth, Max, and Q for keeping it ungovernable. And thank you to Cake Wallet, Foundation, and my NIM box for keeping the ungovernable misfits going. Make sure to check out ungovernablemisfits.com to see Mr. Crown's incredible skills and artwork. Listen to the other shows in the feed to hear Kareem's world-class editing skills. Thanks to Expatriotic for keeping us up to date with boosts, XMR chats, and sending in topics. John, great name and great guy, never change and never stop keeping us up to date with mining news or continuing to grow the Meshtadel. Finally, a big thanks to the unsung hero, our Canadian overlord, Jordan, for trying to keep the ungovernable in check and for the endless work he puts in behind the scenes. We love you all. Stay ungovernable.